Hey veterans, that's my motto and I'm sticking to it. No benefit left behind. Now I know when you finally hit that 100% rating, it's bittersweet. You, as well as I, would much rather be 100% well. Student loan forgiveness is simply one area where it benefits you greatly to weigh your options very closely. I know well how underserved we are, and yet, as a creator, making content, the goal is to help as many people as I can. But this information is specifically for you. I'm circling back with this veterans version edited to make sure that my veterans specifically hear it. We know the sacrifice through direct and indirect traumas, both physical and mental. 100% is not enough. And for those lost, it will never be enough for the families that have left behind. So when I put up a video that conveys to you from a position of advocacy, I am your comrade in arms, giving you a hand up. Never give up. Never disregard your benefits and don't sacrifice them. You are deserving of every thank you, every accommodation, and every preference. Use all of the resources available to you in your pursuit of increasing your emotional and physical health. Today, our focus is on those that are eligible for student loan repayment/forgiveness and those who are striving to become eligible for it. I'm going to go over what has changed and why I turned it down flat. The big change occurred on August 19, 2021. The U.S. Department of Education announced that the federal student loans of more than 300,000 borrowers who have total and permanent disabilities will be automatically forgiven starting in September of last year. Well, I was one of those more than 300,000 veterans that were eligible. Debt forgiveness applies to the following types of loans: federal loans, direct loans, program loans, federal family education, FFEL program loans, and federal Perkins loans. The new regulation began the process of forgiving more than $5.8 billion student dollar debt, a financial burden that relieved many, but they will not get their hands on mine. Not just yet. In September, I got my letter in the mail from NELNET, and NELNET stands for the National Education Loan Network, telling me that my name had been identified as a 100% total and permanent disabled veteran who qualified for the discharge for my student loans. Now, like some of you, especially veterans that have been on Facebook, you're in a group, you see so many payoff shot screens and dancing emojis and smiling faces, whether it's been from 150,000, I've seen them down to 20,000, and your eyes light up and say, that's wonderful. I felt that same way too. They made it. What made it such a celebration was before there was a process in place, and it was laborious to have your student loan forgiven. The qualified veteran, first you had to get qualified, that's a labor in itself. And then they had to turn in an application. Well, what if you was a qualified veteran, 100%, and you sat there with a student loan and you didn't even know about having your loan forgiven? So there you sat with this abundant amount of debt or making payments or going into default status. And I've talked about it before, how going into default status really is a barrier that sets you up for not presenting yourself or work with the federal government as financially solvent. You owe the government, but you want to work for it. You want to say, Uncle Sam, I want to work for you, but I owe you money and I'm not quite ready to pay it back. That would put you in a tough spot. Pay attention to your benefits for yourself and for your family. Now, there's no more application process, and most disabled borrowers for student loan forgiveness, also known as debt discharge, we are now simply in a system that doesn't even require us to apply. It's documentation that's going to get forwarded from one agency to another and happen automatically. Now, I totally get why the program has changed. The process of automation payment makes it much easier for veterans and people on Social Security, and it simplifies the process for the federal government, making it cost far less and be more effective in the short and the long term. Totally get it. Now, the VA has been doing this since 2019, But starting since last September 2021, the Department of Education, as well as the Social Security Administration, will just cross-check for persons to see if they're totally and permanently disabled. And like I said, just as the VA has been doing since 2019. The borrowers identified as TPD, totally permanently disabled, will automatically have their federal student loan debt forgiven. And if you expected a letter from the Department of Education and didn't receive it, confirming that your loan forgiveness was paid off, then what I can suggest you do is simply contact NowNet, which I'll leave in the information down in the content below. Borrowers who are not identified by the VA or SSA and want to see if they qualified need to seek out student loan forgiveness still and apply, providing a physician certification of disability. But if you're a newly acquired 100% rating for a permanent total disability, or you're submitting claims and appeals toward it, this is yet another reason not to give up. Here's another quote, because we're smart. Albert Einstein said, "The more I learn, the more I realize what I don't know." We're living in an age where there is an abundant amount of opportunity for learning and development. Do you realize, and this blew my mind, that more knowledge exists in a one weekend edition of the New York Times than an average person had access to in their entire lifetime in the 1800s? Wow. Which takes me to why I did not accept the near $30,000 that I have in student loan debt. Because when I was at a 90% rating and I was on those Facebook groups of people taking screenshots of their student loan debt being repaid, a light came on. I enrolled in school. One, because I had confidence that my application towards 100% claim would be approved. I had extreme confidence, obviously. I started school, and I'm still in school now that I'm 100%. I completed my master's degree in education just a few months ago in the summer. If you have been following me, and I hope you have by just hitting that notification bell, and please, you're getting something out of this, hit like. I've been accepted to the doctoral program in education as well. We become, as I said, what we give our attention to. And as I said, thank you. You're learning from me, and I still want to learn for you. All that I had to do is when I received that NowNet paper instruction was to read it. And they gave me 30 days to let them know that I was not having it. I did not want my student loan repaid. And when they asked why, I told the representative that I'm still in school. A few weeks later, I received verification. And here it is. The proof is in the pudding. I received verification that my decline was approved. I get it. A formal education is not for everyone. But being open and curious has a profound health and welfare benefits. It reduces stress, it increases your memory, it engages you with others, and it opens up new opportunities. I am neither ready to stop learning, and I'm definitely not ready to die, and neither are you. And that's why I turned down my student loan forgiveness and how I'm able to go to school debt-free. It's just that easy. Thank you for your service, and please share with other veterans and groups who serve veterans, because you don't know who doesn't know what you do now know.